In this video, I am going to go through the new request process and approval. So all requests start with the new request form. Here you can see an example. I always recommend artists to fill out this form and submit it so they can get a sample of what the client would see when they submit it. So once you submit it, you're going to get an email copy of that request, and then it is going to get loaded into your application. I'm just going to move that here and come over here. And then you're going to see it in here. It takes a few seconds, maybe half a minute. You can hit the refresh in the top right to see all current requests or to kind of push that into your app. This is the view of a shop app with a specific list of requests. So in this type of application, you're going to see anybody with a best fit and anybody assigned to yourself. So from here, you can see some different information. All of this is customizable. You're going to see the days waiting. Right now, it's set to if anybody is waiting more than 7 days, it's going to change the color to red, just alerting you that this person has been waiting for a response for a little while. It also will show you a little red icon and yes here if the client is traveling. So to look at all of the details, we're going to go ahead and click on one of these requests. If you have a shop app, you have the ability to assign it to different artists within your shop by clicking that drop-down arrow. If you want to assign it to somebody else, you just simply click their name and you will see that it changes the booking artist to the new one, but also keeps a record of the original artist. If you go back now, you will not see this request here. So make sure you are confident in switching somebody because you won't be able to see it again from this view. I have an administrator's view here, so if I refresh this, I'm just going to minimize that. If I refresh this, I will see that that original artist was Chloe and the new one recommended is Connor. If say I come in here and I sign it, let's go back to best fit and I go back to Chloe's account, we're going to refresh it here. We're going to see that under best fit. So you're going to be able to see anything under best fit and assign to you. And again, it's still Chloe Tattoos. So let's say we're going to take this back for Chloe. And we've already looked at all the details and you'll notice this archive button at the top. That is only for somebody that submitted duplicate requests. So it basically will hide this from your view and nothing will be sent to the client. So that's basically all that's used for. So it doesn't get used very often, but sometimes clients will get overzealous and submit multiple requests for one idea, and that's what you would do for that request there. So now we can go through here and now you're ready to set the approval. You're going to hit this button in the bottom left here and you're going to see two new tabs here. One is just reiterating some of the request details here, and then the other is where you're going to set the approval information. So at the top, you're going to see 3 different statuses: approved, rejected, and more info needed. When you click approved, you're going to see a little asterisk for all of the fields that are required based on that approval status. You'll see that it changes for each one that you select. So for example, if it's more info needed or rejected, you're going to see that this field is required. So what you would enter in here is a message to the client saying, not your style or, whatever you feel is why you didn't approve this request. A booking artist will typically get this and look at that and review it and may tweak it slightly and review it before it's sent, but this is basically where you put a message that will be sent to the client. It's not automatic, it does get proofread, so just be mindful of that. For more info needed, this is also a required field. This is where, for example, can you send better pictures? Can you send another picture? Can you clarify? This is where you would put that information here. So if it's approved, you still can put in a client message, oh, I'm so excited for this request. I love this idea, something like that. Anything you would like here. And then you have a request priority. This basically lets your booking assistant know how important this request is to get booked. So say you've approved 3 requests, anything with a high would get booked first. So it's not a required field. So if you leave it blank, everybody would just get booked in as they come in. This phone consult here is if you want to set up a consult, either before an appointment or first. So you'll notice if you click the consult button, none of the other fields, sorry, I'm just going to unclick that. None of the other fields are required. So this assumes that you would want to set up the phone or in-person consult first before booking any tattoo sessions. If that's not the case, you can definitely say, okay, one session, I want to book that session for 6 hours or 4 to 6 hours. And you could say book consult and tattoo appointment. And that will let your booking assistant know that you want both of those booked. If, for example, you're pretty sure on this number, but you want to just book the consult first, you would just say book consult only or first. So say we don't want to consult, we're going to need a set rate or hourly based on this request. So for example, if I want set rate, we have two options here, by session or by piece. So say you have a request that's going to require 2 sessions. This is per appointment, so you want each appointment to be 4 to 6. If you want it different, you can say 4 to 6 and then say 3 to 4, or you can say something else in this notes here. The second session might not be that long, or whatever you think. But in general, we'll go with the example of I want 2 sessions and each session is going to be 4 to 6 hours. And I'm going to give a set rate for the session itself. And I'm going to say each session is going to be $1,000. So overall, this is a $2,000 piece. And just to note that there's no asterisk here, so the to field is not required. It is a little bit of a grayed out number here for the 0, but you don't have to put like 1,000 here. It will give you an error because when it's sent to the client, it'll say, the set rate's 1,000 to 1,000, which, you just want it to say, the set rate for this piece per session is $1,000. If you want it by piece, you would click that option and you might say 2,000 to maybe 2,500, for example. That's how you would do that. And then it's not by session, and the language sent to the client is the overall rate for the entire piece would be this amount. I just want to kind of offer caution when rating or putting a set rate by piece, that if you don't make a note saying set rate by piece up to a maximum of 2 sessions, you might run into the problem where a client thinks that it's kind of unlimited sessions. So they might tap after 2 hours and say, you know what, I'm set rate by piece. It doesn't matter how long I sit, so I'm going to take 1 million appointments. So you want to make sure to kind of use some clarifying language. You might say in here up to, 2 sessions max or something like that, to make sure, that you don't run into that problem. And you can also say up to 2 sessions max. Anything over will be charged hourly at, $200 or whatever, something like that, just to make sure that anything by set rate by piece isn't like 1,000 appointments, if you're concerned about that. So the other option is is an hourly rate. So if we do hourly, you can put in the rate, whatever you want, and easy peasy, the client will get sent that their appointment is 4 to 6 hours, charged at an hourly rate of $250. For any set rate pieces, the client does not get sent the hours needed per session. They are only sent the set rate, so that you are booked for a set rate appointment at $2,000 to $2,500. So just keep that in mind. Anything hourly will be sent this range, or whatever you put in here. If you put 6, that's what they will be sent. The deposit amount is here. You may have a default value, you may not, but this allows you to set the deposit dependent upon the piece, so it's flexible. This needs more drawing time is an option. Again, all of these fields you may not have on your form, but I like to include everything as a default to allow you the maximum flexibility when booking. So this means that this is a higher time appointment, and you might want to set that interval with your booking assistant, no more than 2 appointments like this a week, or 1 or 3, or whatever you're comfortable with. This internal notes might be a message to your booking assistant, not entirely related to the session time, like scheduling notes, but this is a friend, book whenever, or whatnot. So any internal notes you might have, feel free to put them here. Then once you save it, I'm just going to cancel it. it is taken out of your list and it is sent to your booking artists or your booking assistants form. So yeah, that's it.